Yo, what's going on guys, welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be looking at the brand new brawler Fang. We're going to be looking at all his best matchups, all his best counters, all his best game modes, and his best builds. So before we jump into today's video, make sure you're using a create code in the shop. That'd be greatly appreciated. And without further ado, let's jump into today's video. Alright guys, so before we jump into some gameplay and talking about the best modes, we're going to be talking about the best build for Fang. So first off, we're going to look at his base, well, his stats at power 11 at max level. So he's got a considerable amount of damage, 2100. He has fast movement speed, very long range with his attack. Of course, it extends with his normal attack, but we'll show that to you guys in a moment. And his reload speed is very fast, and also his super has very long range as well. And he also has an interesting trait, just like other tanks. Whenever he receives damage, it is going to be charging his super. So really interesting. You'll have to wait to see from the gameplay. I'll show you guys some kind of cool tricks with that. So his gadget, he only has one gadget. So basically, Fang tosses out some popcorn, and whenever an enemy walks over him, it's going to deal 500 damage, and it also actually charges up to his super. So that's an interesting fact to know as well. That's really going to help him build up his supers. So going into his star powers, I feel like from the bat that this one's going to be the best star power in my opinion. So when Fang defeats an enemy with his super, it's recharged instantly, allowing him to use his super again. So this is going to be really good, especially when brawlers are below that threshold. So whenever you can super someone to finish them off, you're going to get another super. You're going to be able to chain them really well. So his next one is going to be called Divine Souls. So this one reduces 500 damage from incoming enemies. Enemy hits every 3 seconds. Maximum reduction is 9% of the incoming damage. So it's still a decent star power, but I still feel like this one's going to be chaining more. And then for gears, this is a really easy option. So I think speed and shield basically all of the time, basically with every single brawler. You might want to opt for the damage ones sometimes, but for me, speed and shield are going to be the best gear. Alright guys, so now we're going to be talking about how good Fang really is. Going to be talking about his best matchups and his best counters. So although I've only really had the chance to face off against bots, this could easily change. And of course, make sure you're subscribed to get all the latest information about the meta. I'll be playing a bunch of the new brawlers when they are released, but going into it, just my first thoughts about Fang. I feel like Fang is going to be pretty strong in my opinion. He only takes around, I think, 4 hits to get his super, even when so when you actually miss your main attack, you're going to fly out like a punch or a kick. I don't even know what actually flies out, but basically it's going to deal like 500 damage, which isn't a lot, but it's going to charge your super, and that's what you're going to be aiming for with Fang. His super range is just crazy. You're going to be able to dash basically across the entire map. It's going to be really good in Brawl, and especially brawlers that don't have a lot of HP, you're going to be chaining and killing them pretty easily because Fang has a lot of HP and just a quickness. I feel like there's going to be a lot of like auto aim spam with Fang in my opinion. You're going to be chaining those supers really crazy, and the best thing about him is going to be his gadget. Like his gadget actually, well, that's not going to be the best thing about him, but that's just going to be one of the best things to charge his super. Like it can actually charge his super, which if there's like a bunch of enemies built up, you're going to use that gadget, you're going to be basically getting a free super. And again, you're going to be using that star power. If you're killing an enemy, you're going to be getting the super back for free. So I feel like the kind of super chain potential is going to be really strong with Fang. So in terms of matchups, I feel like, again, just comparing this with other assassin brawlers, I feel like he's just going to do well against enemies that don't do a lot of damage up close, because although he has a fast reload speed, I don't feel like he has a fast unload speed. Sometimes I feel like it can be a little bit like long to kill enemies. He doesn't do a lot of immediate damage, but he does some good consistent damage. So again, you're going to be looking at his super to chain a lot of the time. So one thing to note as well, I don't think unless he kills someone, you're going to be able to chain that super. Even if you hit like 3 things, you're going to have to punch at least 1 or 2 times maybe. So obviously not like infinite super chaining unless again like you're killing those enemies with that star power. But yeah, in terms of good matchups, that's going to be the best one for him. So let's move on to the counters. Okay, so now moving more so onto the counters now. So again, just like brawlers that counter this general kind of assassin tank brawlers, you're going to be bringing it out. So the likes of brawlers that have like stun mechanics, the brawlers that do a lot of DPS. So I can think of top of my head, you know, brawlers like Griff are going to be really strong against him. Just a typical like, you know, Shelly, just Colette, those type of brawlers that are going to be countering tanks. You know, there's a bunch of different ways to obviously counter brawlers, and again, I probably will do a video on this once the update kind of drops, because it's so hard to actually play against bots. I don't have anyone to play against on the dev build either, so kind of hard to predict. But again, I'm just going to constantly bring up that comparison of Buzz, like Mortis. These are going to be the same type of brawlers that you're going to look to counter Fang with, but obviously be careful of that chaining ability. So I didn't really talk about matchups too much, but for me, just think of a few brawlers off the top of my head. So I can think of brawlers like Mr. P, like any throwers really, any brawlers that just can't do enough damage to him. Alright guys, so now we're going to go through every single game mode, give you guys my thoughts in terms of how strong I think he's going to be in those game modes. Of course, again, I could be completely wrong on this one, but I feel like, again, kind of comparing him to Buzz, it's going to be pretty decent. So in Brawl, I feel like this is probably going to be his best game mode. The main reason for him for that is because he has really good versatility and he's just really fast. So with his super, he has a really large super range, and just the ability to get across the map really quickly is just going to favor him, especially in this game mode, especially considering as well he's a tank and he does get that super from incoming damage. I feel like he's going to be really strong in Brawl. Alright guys, so now moving on to Siege. So I feel like this one's going to be a bit of a funny one. I can't really tell off the start whether he's going to be really strong on this one, because I feel like as a tank, you know, you kind of want those maps with a lot of walls, but I feel like this brawler is going to be actually better on the more longer range maps, just because you can chain his super off more people. Like, especially on maps where they don't have a lot of walls, you're not going to be able to win so many 1v1 engagements, in my opinion anyways, because this obviously doesn't do like a lot of damage. So I feel like he's going to be mixed depending on the map, but he's going to be okay. You know, he's a tank, he can obviously do decent in defense. And one thing to note with him as well, with his super, he's going to be really good against enemies defending that siege bot. So it's going to really help because he has a long range with that super. You're going to be able to attach onto the first person, and then it's going to chain across to multiple people. So it's going to be really scary facing off against a Fang in siege just for this reason. Okay, so next up we have a gem grab. So again, I feel like it's going to be a really strong mode for Fang. Main reason is because he has a really good turnaround potential, in my opinion. The dash is so long, so imagine a map like Harder Up Mine. You could literally appear from your own bush, super up, and basically attach yourself straight away to their enemies. Gem carrier, and obviously chain if they're in the bush as well. I just feel like he has a lot of potential here. So this kind of reminds me of like a Mortis long dash, but way longer. So like a Buzz kind of super as well. So Fang, I feel like it's going to be really strong in gem grab. Alright guys, so next up we have Heist. So for me, I feel like it's going to be one of his weakest game modes, because a lot of people tend to split up in Heist, and I just feel like the maps don't really favor him at the moment. But again, it could be completely wrong. He might be one of those brawlers that's just like completely broken upon release. You know, a lot of brawlers right now upon release are pretty strong, so maybe expect this with Fang. But again, if people are grouping it up, this is just where it's going to cause absolute chaos, because Fang's just going to chain up a lot. But in my opinion, I don't think it's going to be one of his better modes. Okay, so next up we have Bounty. So I feel like, again, he's going to fill the role of a Buzz. So he's not going to be the complete strongest, but it's going to be a really good counter pick. So if you're going to be using him in combinations with like a Poco or a Byron or like a Max, I feel like it can be pretty strong. I feel like his supers are a lot easier to hit than Buzz, so being able to chain easily off opponents, this is going to be really strong as well. So maybe he's not going to be like the strongest brawler, but watch out for those counter picks with him. Okay guys, so next up we have Hot Zones. So again, I feel like the more open maps are going to be benefiting him a lot more. So Ring of Fire is a map that springs to my mind, which he might be a lot stronger on, especially if you can get inside the enemy grass. You're going to be getting into that enemy grass a lot easier with Fang because of his super range. But again, you're going to compare that to maps like Split, which I don't think is going to be the best on. So I think it's going to be fairly decent on this mode. Alright guys, so the final mode is Knockout. So again, Knockout, I feel like in terms of maps, doesn't really cater to him too much. There's a lot of walls, so I feel like it could be pretty hard for him to pop off in. But again, it still might be okay. Alright guys, that's going to be it for today's video. Let me know down in the comment section below what you think of Fang and what you kind of want me to do with the next sneak peeks, well, in the future updates, because I'm looking to obviously improve on the sneak peek content. I want to put a lot more effort into them. This one was a little bit rushed because of just timing in general, but I just wanted to give you guys a quick overview of Fang, my opinions on him, you know, the best matchups, the best counters, the best game modes for him, so you guys can be prepared when he drops. And I just feel like he's a really cool brawler. I feel like I'm going to like this brawler a lot just because of the super chaining potential. I just feel like it's going to be so much fun just zipping about. His super has a really long range as well, so I feel like it's going to be a lot of cool plays to make with him, a lot of turnaround potential. But yeah, that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.